Welcome back to American Brothers in Italy. I know it's been a long time, but we haven't necessarily been to American Brothers in Italy. There was one American brother in Los Angeles, another American brother in Tunisia, one American brother deep in the throes of romance and unable to even record things. I'm talking about me, not you. You just lying in bed. I guess that's romantic too. So, the episode today is what you've all been waiting for ever since you heard the word Italy. Food! Food. In Italian, here's how you say food. La vita. Did I say it correctly? Is that the word for food? This is our producer over here, Italian producer.
That was right.
That was right. Did you hear her good American accent? That never happens. So, what do we have to say about food in Italy, Lou? We know the obvious. It's awesome. American food sucks. So we won't talk. We won't be cruel to the Americans by comparing the quality of the food. Actually, we'll make fun of the Italians for their inability to handle any food that isn't Italian food. My favorite thing to do as a teacher is to go to school and tell them about what we do in America with food. And they look like you're talking about puppy mills, or like you're talking about walking down the street and licking Grand Central Station.
Yeah, but first we have to tell them what's great about the food here. And
I think they know what's great about the food here.
One thing, and that's
Who doesn't know
a
that?
huge difference, is how fresh everything is. Everything is fresh.
It's true. For example, you have to eat this in this season and that in this season. What? You're eating strawberries in July? You're crazy. You're eating this vegetable and the wrong... I always get the seasons wrong for the things I'm eating. You don't eat tortellini in the summer? Are you crazy?
But also just the average food from the grocery stores.
That's
a
true.
lot fresher than in America.
And you can buy it at markets everywhere. In LA, it's like super cool hipster thing to go to the local market. The local market is just like a banal fact of life here. But the funny thing is when you tell them about things like ranch dressing on pizza, or putting peas and chicken in your pasta carbonara.
Or ketchup in general.
They can do ketchup.
Really?
Yeah, but only on some things. If they saw the things we put in.
On what?
You know,
Americans
who come into Italy, if you come to a restaurant and you start asking for condiments, you look like a fucking asshole. Just remember that. Because Italians have this philosophy about the food. They've perfected the dish, and you don't get to change it. They don't even have salt and pepper. They don't even have salt and pepper on the table, because they know the amount of salt and pepper that should be in everything. So if you come and you're like, "Can I have hot sauce? Can I have pepper?" They'll be like,
fucking Americans.
which means go back to Texas and refuse to abort some more women.
More women. I think you abort the babies, not the women, but okay.
And then, what's the other thing they go crazy about? Oh, well, first of all, the rules for what goes with what and what you eat with what. I mean, it's like you saw our dating episode. It's worse than trying to date Italian women, trying to feed an Italian woman. Yeah. It's like, you got the ragu, the tomato sauce with meat. It can only be 3 of the noodles of the 80 noodles that Italians have. You put the wrong noodle, it doesn't count anymore.
And the reason you don't do certain things and don't mix certain things together is because you don't do certain things.
Yeah.
You don't mix things together.
Yeah,
that's the reason.
That's actually the reason for everything in Italy. This is in the Italian philosophy, like if you go to an Italian philosophy department, here's what they teach you. Non si fa. That means you just don't do it. And that's the reason for everything. That's the reason for doing things, and it's the reason for not doing things. And you don't put the wrong pasta noodle in. Yeah. You don't put cheese on fish. You don't put cream in your pasta. You don't put chicken in your pasta.
And as dogmatic,
chicken Alfredo.
As dogmatic as that sounds, there's the wisdom of years and years of perfecting these recipes behind it?
Let's say decades. Yeah, it's actually kind of cute how they all do everything so well and they have no idea the reason.
They don't quite.
It's
know
just because
exactly
the grandmother
why, they
and the
just know that's
grandfather and
way.
the great grandfather and everybody did it, and it's like wisdom in the blood and in the bones. That it's not like a rational wisdom.
Yeah.
How many times we'd be like, "Why do you do that?" I don't know. You just do it. That's not what you do. You gotta do it that way.
And act like it's
and then they're
crazy.
right.
Of
They're right
course.
every time. It's actually like every time they're right. Yeah. If only that they were. Unfortunately, they talk the same way about sex and dating, and they're not right about that. But with food, they got it down.
All right, should we talk about breakfast? The differences?
Yeah, they don't have
They
it,
don't really have it.
and they
What-
think we're crazy.
Would they consider breakfast is
little cookie?
yeah,
Little cookie for
some
breakfast.
kind of pastry that's delicious, better than almost anything you'll find in America, with a cappuccino.
One time I said, "Don't
or
you
an
want some
espresso."
food for breakfast?" And he said, "Yes, I put milk in my coffee." Oh, you put milk in your coffee. Now it's food. Speaking of milk in your coffee, don't order a cappuccino after breakfast. You don't do that. Why don't you do that?
Because you don't do that.
Because you don't do that. Why do we do that? Do you know? Perché non si fa.
And then
We're running out of time. What about cooking?
and then people wonder why Americans are so grossly obese.
Yeah, that's mostly about the fact that we don't walk.
But it's also portion sizes, which is another thing we should point out.
That's
The
true.
portions are way smaller here. They're what I would consider reasonable sizes for meals. In America, you have a whole plate full of food, and
Yeah.
here it's just
You show them pictures of American portions, and there's like, oh, that's a cool family dinner.
Yeah.
Is that a family restaurant? It's like Ethiopian food. We're all going to eat from the same plate together. Cooking. Italians cook. We don't. There's the end of the cooking.
pretty
story.
much everyone, even young people,
Even
know
the
how to
men cook.
here.
Even like almost all the men.
Yep.
Almost all the men cook. It's really been unfortunate for me because in America I was so sexy because I cooked, and now I'm just a boring, banal, average man. In fact, a lot of things that made me sexy in America just make me average here.
Right.
Dressing well, cooking, being a little more effeminate.
Yep.
It's average here. Is there anything that makes me sexy in Italy at all?
Yeah, your Americanness.
Yeah. The least sexy thing about
Yeah.
me is sexy to them. All right, guys. Stay tuned for next week where we talk about drugs and alcohol.